All right, Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who taught us the truth. And peace blessed to the brothers who's doing his work with truth and sincerity. To the believers, to the sincere sisters listening and learning, and to the elect. All right. Coming with a lesson in transit right now, man. To get off the gig, head over to camp with the brothers. And really, I'm just going to title this video, time to boss up. Or something around that lines, and the spirit was on me because last few days, man, been heavy on my spirit, in that spirit of bossing up, and when I say bossing up, I don't mean the world's term of bossing up, of course, it's still going to apply certain things that must be done, but essentially bossing up, man, is bossing up and being a man, in the spirit first and foremost. All right, I've been noticing that there's a lot of feminine energy, man, in the world right now. There's a lot of feminine energy, not only in the world, but even amongst certain brothers, and not saying that it's like necessarily intentional or anything, but like, there's a lot of gossip and a lot of complaining and shit like that, man. And I got caught up in that wind a little bit myself for a very long time, man. The Lord kind of put me in a place where I want to say a place of complacency. He put me in a spirit of complacency a little bit. You know what I mean? And I say the Lord because I say that because of certain circumstances and situations that were put in, and it was kind of like, it was hard not to be in that state of mind. But the one thing the Most High says, that there's no temptation that's great that's going to overtake you, roughly paraphrasing. All right, He's going to always make a way to escape. And part of having that understanding, right, goes down to your faith, ultimately, your patience, which is being patient is a masculine trait. All right, I know we talk a lot about patience. We talk a good game when we say, "Oh, be patient, be patient." But part of being patient is taking action. All right, being patient don't mean just sitting around doing nothing. All right, being patient don't mean just saying "fuck it, I'm gonna wait on the Lord." Being patient is taking action. All right, and then just allowing things to flow how they flow, and for things to work out the way they ought to work out when they ought to work out. Just generally speaking. All right, with everything going on in the economy today, with the BRICS and the different countries all formulating alliances, and Saudis and China all coming together trying to formulate a new currency, or a new world reserve currency. All right, because technically they say that you can have more than one world reserve currency. All right, that's what they say, but in reality, it's not likely that you're going to have two superpowers. All right, because part of being a superpower is not necessarily just military, but it's political, it's financial influence. All right, and the dollar, or I should say US rather, they have their superpower, right, based upon their financial status. All right, and it's as well as, and then that financial status and that political status that they have just naturally backs up their military might. All right, so that's why the scriptures refers to Babylon as the hammer of the whole earth. All right, because I had to close it. I don't know if the wind was coming through. I can't really hear, but that's why the scriptures refers to Babylon as the hammer of the whole earth, right? That's why it says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? And I was watching a little, I don't want to say news clip, but it was a YouTube video where it was economists talking about America and how they use the petrodollar, right, to throw sanctions on other countries, ultimately bullying and hammering, right? And they use this term. They said America is like a hammer, and they hammer sanctions and they hammer down other countries, ultimately to hammer them down into subjection, right? Because these countries have to keep piles of US dollars around so that they can buy oil so that they can run their economy. All right. But as the Saudis start to negotiate exchange with other currencies, America's sanctions are not going to be able to hold the same weight as they once do. All right. Or as they currently do, I should say. You know, or I should say as they once do, because they don't hold the same way. Countries are ignoring those sanctions now, man. So, yeah, that's ultimately what's going on now. So to kind of circle back to what I really was talking about, you know, at this point, you should be in the most secure, spiritually secure place that you've been to date. All right, because you have the spirit in which when you first woke up to the truth. What was that spirit when you first woke up? That first spirit was a fiery spirit. All right, that spirit was fiery. All right, it was strong, it was powerful, it was wild and out of control. All right, and then as we grew in the faith, you know, we learned to contain that spirit, or that fire, if you will. We learned to contain it. All right, and we learned to, you know, turn it up and turn it down, or sometimes it naturally turns down. You know, we have to turn it back up, and vice versa, right? But even within, you know, we were still subject to and fro. But at this point and at this time, we should be the most spiritually secure that we've ever been. We should be at the pinnacle, all right, of our excellency that we can in this flesh. And it's a mentality, all right? It's not all things that you muster in your mind is necessarily going to come to fruition in the flesh. But when you have that mental security and that mental competency, if you will, all right, you are going to make do with what you have, and it's going to feel like it's in abundance, all right? Because with inflation going up, the potential fall of the dollar very soon, the potential transition into all digital currency very soon, we're going to see a big turnaround, all right? We're going to see a big turnaround in just the way of life, all right? And part of that way of life is going to come down to things like purchasing gas, purchasing food, water, access to resources. And if you're not mentally secure and spiritually secure, you're going to be in a position to where you're going to be in a vulnerable position. And I'm saying this with my own personal perception, all right, as well as applying wisdom and common sense, all right? We should all be in the spirit, or we should all be in the time when we're trying to maximize and enhance the things that we have, all right? We should be, if you're working a dead end, easily vulnerable to be cut off type of job, you should start looking into something that's a little bit more stable in the economy, all right? You should be looking for something that has a higher demand. Get into some type of trade, even if it takes 2 months of a school or training, just something with a higher demand, so that even when the economy takes a shift, all right, you're not just left out to dry, all right? Because it's not being wise, all right? It just goes down to, like, even going back to like the example of the virgins and the lamps. You know, if you're just burning your oil non-stop and you're not tapering the oil down a little bit and turning it up, you're not being wise. You're just, oh, you know what, the Lord got me, I'm good. Bro, that's a terrible spirit to be in. You need to be in the spirit of application. And then through that application, you have faith that the Lord is going to sustain you, all right, and take care of you. Because yes, nothing in this world can save you. No guns, all right? So no like skill and learning how to plant and fighting skill, none of that stuff can essentially save you. But can those things help and benefit you in the time to come? Yes, absolutely. Is it a bad thing to learn certain edible plants and learn survival skills? Is it a bad thing? No. Is it in your best interest? Yes. That's all a part of the boss up mentality, man. You know what? Let me start learning translatable skills that the average person don't know. You know, let me stop blowing my money real quick. If I'm going to spend my money, let me spend it on resources and things that can help sustain me in the time to come. Ultimately, I know the Lord is going to take care of me, but at the end of the day, the Lord also impaired me with the wisdom and the knowledge, right, to prepare so I can soften the blow. If you see a punch coming, right, if the Lord tell you, yo, this man's going to punch you, right, are you just going to sit there and take the punch and not brace yourself? You're going to sit here and talking with your mouth open, ha, 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 and then get punched in your jaw. Next thing you know, you get knocked out, teeth busted out, bit your tongue, all because you was talking with your mouth open instead of knowing the punch was coming, all right, clenching your jaw, tightening your face, and turning a little bit to roll with the punch so you relieve the pressure, man. All right, so you soften the blow. Is that not wisdom? Look at it. Look at professional boxers. Let's look at somebody like Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather was one of the best defensive fighters of our time. All right, he was a master of avoiding heavy hits. All right. You'll see like clips of Mayweather dodging, ducking, turning, jumping back and stuff like that, dodging punches, and you'll have these dickhead, ignorant, dumb motherfuckers in the comment, oh, he's a runner, oh, he's just running. Oh, so what, you just supposed to sit there and take a punch? You see a heavy ass haymaker come, oh, I'm a big man. Oh, I'm tough, I can take a punch. That's retarded, man. So don't be in that spirit where you think that you just saying fuck it. Fuck it, man. The economy crashing anyway. Fuck it. That's retarded, man. And I hear people talk like this, man. And it's mostly amongst younger brothers. But you see some more seasoned brothers, it's in that same type of mentality, man. What are you thinking, Jake? Look at your ancestors. Look at the men before you. Was Abraham on some fuck it type mentality? Was King David, King Solomon, Moses, Aaron, all right, all the prophets, were they on some, even the 12, were they all on some fuck it? No, they all had wisdom, all right? They all sought wisdom and they had skills and traits. Look at Paul, man. Paul was a missionary, right? He was an apostle, right? He was sent out to do the work, right? But did Paul just say, fuck it, I'm gonna just do the work and I'm gonna just say, fuck my life? No, Paul had business, man. If I'm not mistaken, Paul was, he sold ships, if I'm not mistaken, man. So even when he was on the move, all right, feeding the sheep, he was still being a man. He was still handling responsibility, all right? He was still making sure he was secure within himself. The Lord ultimately was going to sustain him, but the Lord going to just treat you like a baby, or is the Lord going to treat you like a man, bro? You think the Lord is going to say, oh, he's just saying fuck it, oh, I'm gonna just say fuck it, I'm gonna just do all this dangerous and risky shit because the Lord going to protect me? If you had a son and your son had that mentality, how would you feel about that? If your son was like, oh, my dad rich, he got money, my dad gonna take care of me, I ain't gotta work, I'm gonna just turn up every weekend and go to the club and get drunk and drive and risk my life and have unprotected sex with strangers and strippers and prostitutes. The Lord got me. Come on, man, get it together. Time to boss up, man. Damn, it's hot as hell. It's time to boss up, man. You say you want to be at the house of David. You say you want to be a man of the Lord. You say you a king. You a priest. You a prince. You say all these things. But then when I look at your life and I look at your mentality, it's a whole different thing, man. You can't be half in this thing. You got to be all in, man. You can't be halfway king. Oh, because yes, part of having that king mentality is having faith and wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures, faith in the Lord, all right? being able to be in the world but not of the world, all right? Being set apart. But you got niggas in the world that don't have no faith, don't believe in the Most High, all right? Might dabbling in abominations and different religions and many different things, right? Straight up niggas, right? But they fucking bums. They don't want to go to work, all right? They just spend their money on dumb shit and don't save. They don't invest. They don't learn skills and seek improvement, all right? In all aspects of their life, all right? And they live like that. But here it is. You were given the greatest gift of all time. The scriptures, which the scriptures apply wisdom to everything. The scriptures tell you to take care of your health, all right? The scriptures tell you to groom yourself. The scriptures tell you to as a man, all right, if you can't take care of your house or your family, or your house being just in general, your life, if you can't care for that, you're worse than an infidel, man. So here it is, you living like a bum, you acting like a bum, you thinking like a bum, but yet you got faith, but yet you a man of the Lord. Come on, man. You can't be halfway in this thing, man. You gotta be all in this. Like as the brother Yakana would say, you can't go hard in the spirit and not go hard in the world. And don't take those words the wrong way, meaning saying you got to be of the world. You still have a life in the world. You still have responsibilities, all right? Regardless if we're in this truth or not, we're not living in a bubble, okay? We're not living in a dream world. We're living in the real world, all right? You have responsibilities, all right? You have responsibilities to take care of. It's your duty to make sure that you and your family are initially secure and safe, and then the Lord will handle the things that the Lord handles, all right? The things that you can't control. But the things that you can control, you can control whether or not you go to work and get a paycheck. You control whether or not you spend money on liquor and alcohol and weed or video games and shit every week, man. You control whether you just spending your money on pizza and ice cream and cookies and fast food every day instead of going to the market and buying food and groceries, right? Fresh foods for the house, foods that are gonna strengthen your body, all right? We even know the food's bullshit, but you gotta pick your poison, all right? You choose the best out of the worst, all right? You have control over those things, man. Don't sit here and try to, the Lord is no free will. So the Lord just said, all right, you know what? He gonna eat like, I'm gonna make him eat like shit and be a slob and be fat and out of shape, but yet he claimed to be a man of the Lord. It's time to boss up, man. Spirit on me, all right? You know, Lord willing, y'all can take from this whatever you take from it. You know, I'm bossing up in my own right, all right? For me, all things, man. Learning how to put the Lord, and that's another thing too, man. Learning what it really means to put the Lord first, man. All right, learning discipline. All right, taking time out of your day, even if it's small increments throughout the day, to feed your spirit. You know, all these things, you got to find out what works for you. All right, and you got to do those things, man. Tap in at all times. All right, Joshua 1:8, you know, says this book of the law shall not depart out of their mouth, man. All right, and we meditate on these words day in and day out. All right, we all have things that we can improve on, man. Find out what it is that you need to improve on and improve on. So Lord willing, the video's edifying. I'm gonna leave it there. Till next time, shalom.